potential stealers. Imagine this is you, okay? Imagine this is you, okay? And I'm going to use this cover to represent all of the things that are covering us up. You came with a potential, okay? Doesn't matter. Again, this is Arnetta Legree with It's Getting Better All the Time. Mental health outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. You can log on to our website at igbatt.com. But you were created with potential. It doesn't matter whether you hear voices, see things. Doesn't matter that you're diagnosed with a severe persistent mental illness. Your husband, wife is diagnosed with a severe persistent mental illness. You're dealing with a negative life situation that just doesn't seem to want to go away. Okay? It doesn't matter. You were born with the potential. What happens is that life has a way of covering up those potential. Now, life is not the illness that's covering up the potential. It's not the, hearing voices that's covering up the potential. It's not the depression. It's not the long-term negative life situation. That's not what is covering up the potential or has the power to steal the potential. Is the things that we allow, that we put on top of this, okay, that allow us to, that keep us from moving away from our potential. So I wanted to share a couple of things of what these things are. One of the things is how we think. Okay, we think. Thoughts, feelings, and behaviors go together, as we say that all the time on our broadcast. Thoughts, feelings, and behaviors go together. Whenever we're going through a particular bad time, we have a tendency to overgeneralize certain things, certain circumstances. We have a tendency to start feeling negative about certain things, about ourselves. We start getting into all type of things of what go wrong. We start talking about things never work out. Things are always this way. Things will never change. And when you start thinking that and feeling that way, you start behaving that way. There's something that's called automatic thoughts. Automatic thoughts is when something happens, those are thoughts that automatically go, that come up. When something happens, you see somebody says something, or someone does something that triggers you, that negative thoughts. Oh, they must be this way. Or they must be a narcissist. They must be a bad person. They must be whatever the case is. Or we do it on ourselves, okay? Something happens, I'm so stupid. Something happens, why did I do that? I wasn't even thinking. Why did I say that? That wasn't the right thing to say. Why did this happen? We have those negative automatic thoughts, right? They just keep coming, and then we don't know why, and then we wonder why we're feeling the way that we feel, why we behave in the way that we behave, because thoughts, feelings, and behaviors go together, right? So we're feeling a certain way, we're behaving a certain way because of what we're telling ourselves. And what we're telling ourselves and what we're thinking, as I said before, because you think something and because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that it's accurate, doesn't mean that it's true, doesn't mean that it's correct, right? It is true that you feel a certain way, and everybody has a right to think how they want to think, to feel how you want to feel. But just know that how you think and feel is not always factual. Because how we think and feel, we think that way, we feel that way as a result of our personal history. The things that have happened to us in life, our previous circumstances, our previous experiences, our culture. All of that plays a part in how we think and feel about a certain thing, about a certain people, about what a person says. A person may say something and may mean something different than what you think, but because they said it, you're triggered by it, right? So we all have, our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are not always 100% fact, right? Our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors have to be challenged, especially if those thoughts, feelings, behaviors are keeping us from fulfilling our potential. And those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, oh, you're stupid. Right? You have an opportunity to try a new job, right? Something you've never done before, and then that thought comes out and say, you can't do that, okay? You have an opportunity, maybe to, talk to a new person or to lose weight. Why are you doing that? Things never work out for you. Okay? You tried before and it didn't work before. You tried to lose weight. You tried to put in for a new job. They didn't call you back. They didn't hire you. Why are you doing that? Okay? All of these things, these come to steal our potential, okay? You're out, maybe you're doing something and then somebody says something. Your mother says something, your father says something, people at work maybe say, oh, you can't do that. Or maybe internally, as I talked before about with myself, with stuttering. Well, why are you going to do a Facebook Live? You can't even talk well because you stutter. All of these things that will come. See, the thing is, we cannot let these outside things keep us from fulfilling our potential. Because the more you do a thing, the better you get at it. The better you'll begin to gain more strength. You'll be gain more, you'll be less concerned about the negative things. This is all the negative things. This is our potential. We spend so much time concerned about what we're not. I can't talk well. I can't, people are going to look at me funny. I'm not very smart. I'm always stupid. And things never work out. I don't have any money. I don't have a job. We look at all these type of things and we never pay attention to what's in us, right? All of us have a purpose. All of us have potential. God has placed something in us. But if you allow these negative things to get in the way, it will all continue to dampen that purpose that God has for us. Okay? So one of the things, our thoughts. We have thoughts and feelings. We have to challenge our thoughts and feelings. Just because we think or feel a certain way doesn't mean that it's accurate, doesn't not mean that it's correct, right? So we have to begin to challenge that. And one of the things we have to do, avoid positive thinking. I mean, positive thinking is good. But what you want more importantly than positive thinking is balanced thinking. Balanced thinking is like, you know what? I'm fearfully wonderfully made. I have a potential, but I made a mistake. Okay? It's not this, oh, you stupid and things never work out. You never make good decisions. No. I'm human and I made a mistake. I'll learn from it. I'll grow. I'll keep going. It's not the end of the world, right? So again, you have to kind of keep in mind, we have to balance thinking. And see, what happens is, their destiny will come, there are things that will come to steal our potential and make us think that how we're thinking and feeling at the moment is all there is to life. That's all there is to us, and things that will never change. We can get so caught up in what the negative things that we're thinking and feeling that we never move past our potential, right? We never move past those negative thoughts, okay? I'm going to talk about doing it without people last, but let me talk about this. Fear. Fear of being hurt, fear of rejection, fear of looking a certain way. I don't want people to think I don't know. I don't want people to think that I'm stupid. I don't want people to think that I'm vulnerable, right? So you walk around in fear. Fear is another potential stealer, right? Because when a person is fearful, they haven't been made perfect in love. That means you don't understand that things, what is there to fear? If you make a mistake, you do it again. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. If a person says something about you negatively, oh well, that's how they think, how they feel, they have their choice, but I'm not going to internalize that. We cannot let fear stop us. Now, of course, there's healthy fear. Of course, fear is a good thing. There's no emotion that's bad. Okay, let me say that. There's no emotion that's bad. What happens is what we do with that emotion and what we allow and how we allow that emotion to impact us that can cause us bad things. Because if your fear or emotion thoughts keeps you from fulfilling your purpose for being here, then that's a problem, okay? So fear of being hurt, fear of rejection. Like I said, the automatic thoughts. Mental illness, right? Whether, and we talked about mental illness, we talk about severe and persistent mental illness, because that's what this broadcast is about, right? Providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith to individuals who are living with the symptoms or impacted in some way by severe and persistent mental illness or negative life situation. That's what we do. Okay, but I want you to know, even if you're not, maybe you're just going through a negative situation or that you're just listening to me, I want you to know that you're human. And as a human being, you're going to make mistakes, okay? People are not always going to like you. You're not always going to be everybody's cup of tea, okay? You will change your mind. There are going to be times when you're going to say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do this, and then you change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to say, I said I was going to do this, but I've changed my mind. That's okay, okay? It's okay to feel, to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to express your emotions, to express your feelings. It's okay, okay? that does not take away from who you are. Okay? But just know that something, life happens, good things, bad things, it's all part of life. We cannot let those things stop us, right? You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You have a reason for being here. Don't let what you're going through dampen your light or cause you to withdraw from being all that God has for you to be. There's a wonderful purpose. This is you. I didn't have this is all I had to represent. This represents a human being. This represents you. Okay? Don't let the external stuff that's going on cause you to draw back. Don't let the internal stuff, okay, what you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm not going to make it, I'm nobody, nobody cares, nobody likes me, why did you do that, that was so stupid, you wasn't paying attention, okay, stop you from being all that you need to be, okay. You want to keep moving forward. Don't let these things back you up, okay. Keep moving forward, don't back up. Keep moving forward, don't back up. Don't let what people say about you back you up. They have their right. People can say whatever they're going to say. Okay, they have a right to say, think how they feel. People say things based on their own thought process, based on their own emotions, based on their own unresolved emotional issues in some cases, right? So that's them. But keep moving forward. Don't let that back you up. Okay. Don't let fear. Keep moving forward. Don't let fear stop you. Keep moving forward. Don't let fear of the unknown, right, stop you. Okay, keep moving forward. Again, and do not make the excuse or fall into this belief that the reason why you can't succeed is because of what's going on with you. There are people with no legs, with no arms, and I'm thinking of one person in particular, right, who's married, has children. Right? I think he has a daughter, he has children, and he's a public speaker. So the fact that you're hearing voices, that you're seeing things, that you have a mental illness, that your wife left you, your husband left you, your kids don't want to speak to you, the church stole all your money, or whatever the case is, the negative thing that's happening to you in life, that is no excuse for you not being able to fulfill the purpose that God has for you. You may have to move slower. Right? You may have to take smaller steps, but you can still move forward. You may have to take a break, okay, regroup and keep going. But you don't want to let what you're going through stop you. Because, a lot of people think, well, I can't do it because I hear voices. I can't do it because I had a psychotic episode. I can't do it because I was in the hospital. All of those things has already been taken into account. You can move forward. You may move forward a little slower, but you can move forward. And then those of you who may not have a mental illness or a severe and persistent mental illness, you may just have negative life circumstances. There's nothing that you will go through, I have gone through or will go through, that someone else has not gone through and made it. There's always a way out. There's always a plan. There's always a strategy. Sometimes we have to take a look at, how did I get in this situation? Okay, how did I get myself in this situation? Because see, a lot of people are like, well, you don't want to blame the victim, don't blame me, don't blame me. No, you want to take some responsibility. Because see, the wonderful part about it is when you can identify what you did or what you didn't do or what you should have done, right? You can come up with a plan, make a strategy, and you can change your life around. You can change things around. You don't have to be in the same situation tomorrow that you are in today, right? It may take a little while. It may take, as I always say, get some pen, paper, and begin to come up with a plan, but it is possible, okay? Another thing that stops people's potential, some of these people think that you could do it without other people, okay? You think that you don't need people. You think because someone hurt you, because your mother hurt you, your father hurt you, somebody, everybody has issues, things going on with them. Everybody is not going to be able to cater to my feelings. They're just not. They're not going to be able to cater to my feelings, to cater to my thoughts, because everybody got their own stuff going on. And it doesn't mean that they're a narcissist, doesn't mean that they are, what's the other buzzword? And I use that because that's like seem to be a buzzword. And for those of us who are in the mental health field, we know that according to the DSM-5, the number of narcissists are very slim. So I'm not sure how all of a sudden we have become overrun with all these narcissists. But anyway, Even if the person, is a narcissist, or you have an illness, or whatever the case is, we have to take some responsibility, right? We have to take a look at, okay, what can I do? Because that's where the power is. The power is in realizing that you do have choices. The power is in realizing you do have options. Is it easy? No, because it wasn't easy for me to get into the situation that I'm in. But I do have an option. I do have choices. Okay, I can come up with a strategy. I can come up with a plan. It may take a little while to get out of this situation, but I can get out of it. The same way I got in by making a choice, I can get out by making a choice, right? But again, people. Okay, let me read something about support systems. Attempting to live your life without the help or assistance of anyone else is unrealistic and short-sighted. When you do that, trying to do it on your own, you don't need people. People are mean, people are bad, people are cruel, whatever the case is. You're distrustful of people, critical, hypercritical. You don't believe anybody. Everybody's always out to get you. It limits your potential. You see, the problem is not the other person. They're moving forward. Is the fact that you will never live up to your fulfilled, or live up to all the potential that you have within inside of you. That's the problem. It's not the other person, okay? Because the other person is going on. He has moved on with his new wife, or she's moved on with her new husband, and you're the one that's still holding on to this, right? I don't need people. People are so bad, right? But you need people to fulfill what God has for you. Okay, so let's say now we're talking about people. All right. So attempting to live your life, as I said, without the help or assistance of anyone else is unrealistic and short-sighted. We were not created to live in isolation, okay, or to exist in a vacuum hidden away from other people. When people say, I don't like being around people, okay? Why don't you like being around people? Is it everybody? Is it certain people? Is it certain times of the day? Or certain times of the month? What's going on? Because there's a reason why you don't like being around certain people. People are not safe. People are not trustworthy. People are, whatever the case is. Everyone is not untrustworthy. Everyone is not out to get you, right? People are people. People are human beings. And got to keep in mind too, we have to look at it, when we start beginning to look at ourselves, again, and no judgment, and it's okay. What brings shame is what we think about ourselves, right? But when we can get past that and start looking at ourselves and looking at, okay, why is it I'm always around people who are untrustworthy? Why is it that I always seem to find a narcissist? Or they find me? Or why is it that I am always in this situation where people seem to take advantage of me? Or what is going on? Again, that is where the power is. Okay? We're not created to operate in a vacuum. When we operate alone, or withdraw from people, because people are, it's where the strength is, where the power is. When you withdraw, you're not going to be able to fulfill all that God has for you. Well, I work with computers and I'll never have to talk to people. But look at the other parts of your life, right? So yeah, you may be successful computer-wise. You DoorDash orders all the time. You never have to go out. But what type of life is that? You're living beneath your potential. Right? You're safe, but you're safe from what? You're withdrawn from people. What are you withdrawing from? So there are people out there who are safe, right? We just got to find the people, and it's easy to find the right people when we have done the work on the inside. Then I will be able to gravitate towards the right people. I'll be able to see the right people, because when I begin to assess the situation, I'm assessing the situation. Or we do this all the time based on my past experiences, based on what somebody said, based on how I was raised. And if those past experiences are negative experiences, you think you're being so smart. You think you're being, I'm using discernment, I'm using good wisdom. No, because your wisdom, your discernment, and what you're seeing is tainted by what's on the inside here. I don't want to get off into that. But we talk about supportive people. It's important to have supportive people. Please understand that having people in your life who support you can be very important in your ability to fulfill the plan that God has for your life. Supportive people can help to strengthen, encourage, and provide needed resources for you. You don't know everything, right? Especially when you need it the most. It's important to start reaching out to people. It's hard to reach out to people when you're in the middle of a crisis, because then some people feel like, oh, you only want to call me now when you're in the middle of a crisis. You want to begin to develop a plan. Think about some of the things that you're going through, some of the challenges and ways that people can help you, and begin to develop a plan. Supportive people can encourage and strengthen you. Supportive people can provide you, and hopefully supportive people should not always agree with you. These are the people who would say, are you sure? Are you right about that? We want people that always agree with us. You should have people that challenge you. You should have people that have permission to say, Annette, I don't think that's right. I think you could have said that a different way, or whatever, without you feeling they're out to get you. The reason why you feel that people are out to get you, or that people are, it's shame, or because people are negative, it's because there's work that needs to be done in here, okay? In some cases. And if you've done the work and you're able to healthily say, okay, this person, and you're emotionally healthy, and you're able to say, okay, this is not working for me, then that's fine. But many people are saying that out of your own pain. You're saying that people are out to get you, or you're saying that people are negative, or you're branding people, or you're labeling people as toxic because you're toxic, okay? Because you haven't done the work on the inside, right? Because this person reminds you of somebody else. You're triggered by something that they said or they didn't do, or what they should have done, right? And you don't even give the people an opportunity. Once a person hurt me, I'm gone. They may not even know. Oh, they know. How do you know they know? Did you ever tell them that? Right? Well, they should know. How do you know they know? Maybe not. Some of us are more sensitive than others, and that's okay, right? But there's some people, but it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person because I'm not as sensitive as you are in that particular area. It could be because I've dealt with some things, and I'm not as I've moved past certain things, right? Or it could be no one ever told me, right? But here's the thing. We think, I see so many people saying, I'm not going to talk to that person anymore because of what they did. And then when you ask them what they did, the person doesn't even know what they even did, right? Or they don't even know that you're angry. They don't even know that you're upset. What happens is you're making your world smaller, some of you, okay? It's just you, the people who think like you, and maybe one or two people. Everybody else, the world is out to get you. The world is unsafe. People don't like you. But we were not created to operate in a vacuum. You got to find your right tribe. You have to find your right people, right? We were not created to operate in a vacuum. Okay? Everybody goes through bad days, good days, challenges, etc. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. But if that's your mindset, then you're always going to be cutting people off. And that's not the way it should work. Okay? There is someone out there who can identify with what you're going through and who can support you if you'll let them. Unfortunately, just when we need someone the most, some of us tend to withdraw and isolate ourselves from other people. And when you need people, that's when some of us try to withdraw. Isolating yourself away from other people with nothing more than your negative thoughts and feelings is not always helpful. Now, sometimes we all need to withdraw sometimes. We need to get away with our thoughts. We need time to reflect. We need time to self-charge, okay? That's not what I'm talking about, okay? But what happens is, when we are in this negative state, this negative, the world is unsafe, thoughts, feelings, negative kind of mindset, when we're alone with our own thoughts and ideas, we tend to engage in thinking that focuses on the negative absolutes in life, such as nobody likes me, or I will never make it, as opposed to the possibility that can be found in Jesus Christ, that can be found in a plan, in a strategy. We begin to feel that start engaging that nothing will ever work out. And some of you will say, well, I don't think that, I don't say that. I always say this, if it were possible to carry a tape recorder around with you for 30 days, you would be surprised some of the things that will be on your tape recorder, right? Some of the negative behaviors, some of the negative thoughts, some of the negative feelings that you have towards yourself. some of the unhelpful behaviors that you have towards yourself. You'll be surprised to know how many times you talk yourself out of moving forward in life or becoming a better version of you. You know, you'll be surprised how many times you talk yourself out of that, just because of what you're saying to yourself, because of how you're feeling. You don't want to talk to somebody, and that person, you don't want to talk to them because they remind you of somebody else, or because maybe they're not smiling the way you want them to smile, or maybe they said something you don't like, right? But that person could be the very person that if you spoke to, could be the person that could help you with the problem that you're having. Supportive people, as I said, when we are alone with our negative thoughts, we do not have the benefit of having an objective viewpoint on which to base our thoughts or to monitor ideas. When you're by yourself, you don't have anyone that can come up to you and say, hey, Annette, I'm noticing the last week or so, you seem to be withdrawing from us, or you haven't been eating. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Okay? Do you need anything? You don't have that. And then the sad part about it is that it's like a, what is it? Oh gosh. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak, right? You withdraw because people are unsafe, and then when people treat you a certain way, then you like, well, see, this is how people are. No, people treated you the way you acted. They treated you based on what you saw. Everybody's not going to, going to come up to you if they notice something and say, hey, I'm noticing da-da-da, are you okay? And then when we do come up to you and say, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? You cut us off. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't need any help. Okay. And then you turn right around and talk about how people don't want to engage, or people don't want to be around you, right? So God gave us supportive people to help us when we need help the most, right? Supportive people can help to remind us that there is hope and that tomorrow can be better than today. We don't know what tomorrow holds because we've never lived it. So tomorrow can be better or can be worse. We don't know. And I'm saying we owe it to our potential. We owe it to ourselves to see what tomorrow is going to be like. You already have a week of 20 years, 15 years, 10 years of having, nothing but negative things have happened to you if that's the case. So let's see what's going to happen the next 10, 15, 20 years, or even the next day. Like I said, supportive people can remind us that there is hope and that tomorrow can be better than today. Supportive people in your life can provide you with an outlet to sound out your ideas and gain a new perspective on what is happening in your life. You may feel like, oh, I don't have any money, I don't have a job, I don't know what I'm going to do, life is just not good for me. But then when you open them to other people, they'll tell you, you know what, I know so-and-so that they're hiring, or I know where you can go, they're giving out food, or I know where you can go, this place is helping you getting your paying for your electricity, okay? But you don't know that if all you're doing is isolating yourself, withdrawing yourself, and alone with your negative thoughts. Even if you have a mental illness that makes it difficult for you to think clearly, you can still learn to meditate. And you can still learn to meditate on good things. You can still learn to engage in positive and balanced thinking. As I said before, having a negative thought, having a mental illness is not the problem. Having an illness that you can't control is not the issue. So that's not an excuse. You don't have an excuse because you hear voices. I had a peer support worker, even in the midst of her hearing voices, she was diagnosed with bipolar. She recently died. But even in the midst of her hearing voices, in the midst of her episodes, sometimes she would go in the hospital, come out of the hospital, she still found a way to become a notary republic to help people. She still found a way to be a peer support person, to give people resources, right? She still found a way to do that. In spite of what was going on inside of her, or what she had to deal with, she still was able to fulfill her potential. So the problem is not that you hear voices. The problem is not that you deal with depression, or you have whatever, a severe persistent mental illness, or the problem is that you're unmarried, or the problem is that your husband is not behaving a certain way, or your wife is challenging, or whatever the case is. Those things don't have to stop you from becoming all that God has for you. What is stopping you is your thoughts about those things and your feelings about those things. What's stopping you is that you're not coming up with a plan or a strategy, okay? We can't let these things keep us from moving forward. We have no excuse. People, support systems are important, okay? For example, during difficult times in your life, you may be tempted to make decisions about your future and to make estimates about your abilities based on how you feel at the moment. But understand that your reality or view of a situation during the times that you are feeling depressed or do not have the energy to focus on anything else but the crisis of the moment is not always accurate. So what am I saying? Let me read this again. Unfortunately, feeling sad, alone, and miserable can be both naturally and spiritually detrimental to your life. For example, during difficult times in your life, you may be tempted to make decisions about your future and to make estimates about your abilities based on how you feel at the moment. In the moment, you may feel like there's no hope. And as a result, you may feel like killing yourself or dying by suicide. In the moment, you feel that way. You may feel this way because of something happened or didn't happen, or things are not going well, or whatever the case is in that moment. You may feel that way. But understand that your reality or view of a situation during that moment or during that time when you're feeling depressed and don't have the energy is not always accurate. You feel that way because that's all you can see at the moment. That's all you feel at the moment. But when you have another supportive person who can you can bounce things off, that person can kind of point out some realities, some other options, right? There are always options. There's always a strategy. There's always a plan. There's always a way out. Okay? So now, I'm not saying that what you're thinking or feeling is not important, but what I'm saying is that it's not always accurate. When we are depressed or in the middle of a crisis, we can become so focused on the problem, that's all we can see. We can become so focused on the problem or the situation that that's all we can see, and that we forget that hope is still available. For example, it may be true that I made a mistake, that my husband left me, your wife left you, that you don't have a lot of money, that you lost your job, that you're not as smart as everybody else, that you're not as wonderful, good looking as everybody else. All of those things may be true. However, it is not true that you always make mistakes. That's not true. Okay? It's not true that you can never do anything right. That's not true. It's not true that things will never work out for you. That's not true. It's not true that people will never like you, because that's not true, because there are people out there who like you. That's not true. So again, when we talk about challenging these thoughts, you want to challenge these thoughts and start thinking balanced thinking. So balanced thinking may say, well, yeah, it's true. Yeah, I made a mistake, and I'll probably make a mistake again, but I don't always make mistakes. As part of the learning process, I'm going to keep going. Okay? That's balanced thinking. Yeah, balanced thinking say, yeah, this person is much better looking than I am. They are a much better speaker. I don't have to be jealous of them. They are. But you know what? There are some things that I can do too. There are some people that I can reach as well. It's balanced thinking. Okay? If you are constantly telling yourself that things in your life will never work out, or you are meditating on how hopeless your life is, then those thoughts must be challenged. We cannot let thoughts of hopelessness go unchallenged. Okay? It is hard to believe that you have a purpose, that God loves you, that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, that things will change if you think of yourself as a perpetual loser. Right? And again, some of you may not use these words, but pay attention to what you're thinking. When you're feeling a certain way, or when you think somebody says something, you're triggered by something, start paying attention to what triggered you. What is it about that person? What are you feeling at that moment? Okay? Start paying attention to your automatic thoughts. Some of you'll be surprised exactly what you really think about yourself. You don't have any supportive people in your life? Well, I don't have anybody in my life. Okay? Then pick one faith-filled word or scripture from the Word of God, and then begin to meditate on it. Well, I don't read the Bible. I'm not into the Bible thing. Then pick one faith-filled word, okay, and begin to meditate on that. Or find a person. Begin to develop your support system, right? The Word of God lets us know that wherever 2 or 3 are gathered together in His name, there He will be in the midst. So despite how negative things may look in your life at this moment, they don't have to stay that way. Because of the purpose that God has for your life. Because of the purpose that Jesus Christ has for your life. Well, I don't believe in God. He believes in you. So it doesn't matter. You are here for a reason. Okay? You need to find out what that reason is. And you need to begin to walk it out. No one is here just to live, to be miserable, and to die. We are stuck because of what we allow to keep us stuck. We are stuck because this represents the negative thoughts, the negative feelings. This is your potential that you were born with. We allow negative thoughts, negative feelings, past abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, what we don't have, what we don't think, what we think other people mean when they say certain things. All of these negative things, we are allowing these negative things to dampen our potential, okay? And keep us from fulfilling the plan that God has for your life. And I'm here to let you know from It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach that you do have a purpose, that you do have a plan, that you have a reason for living, okay? That you have a reason for being here. Your voices, your negative things that are happening to you in life, whatever they are, they may slow you down. You may have to get a plan. You may have to develop a strategy. You're going to need people. So find people, support people. And these are not always going to be people that you like. They're not always going to be people that agree with you. Hopefully you have people in your life who don't always agree with you. Okay? But you need to find some support systems. Because you don't want to die with unfulfilled potential. Because of what you allowed to overtake you. No, we're not responsible for the things that have happened to us in life. But we have a responsibility now to not let them to continue to ruin our life or to steal our potential. Enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He'll use whatever he can use. People, thoughts, fear of rejection, pride, our own pride. Because see, when you feel like you don't need people, part of that is pride. You know, I don't want people in my business. I don't want people to think that I can't do it. Or whatever the case. People hurt me. People said things, negative things about me. All of that happens as part of life. Okay? I'm not saying it's not painful. I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt. But we can't let it keep us. Your potential, your reason for living. Because once you find your reason for living and your potential, right, that is where your joy is. That is where your real happiness is. Because you're now coming to the place where you know what God has for you. Don't let negative things steal your joy. So again, or steal your potential. This has been It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach with your host, Sister A. Legree, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. Please go onto our website at igbatt.com or igbattmho.org and click into our store. We are going to be launching pretty soon what we call a Hope Box. In the Hope Box there's going to be a sweatshirt like what I have here, a sweatshirt, mug, and some other kind of stuff. A sweatshirt, a mug, some booklets, and we're also offering a 30 days support, meaning that for 30 days, that when you purchase the box, in the box, you also get for 30 days a peer support worker or a case management person who will reach out to you weekly, make sure that you have the supports that you need, make sure you know about the resources in your area, or just have someone to talk to. So that's going to be launching pretty soon. But again, go into our website, send us an email. You can support us, igbatt1@aol.com. Email us, show us your support by email us, or you can go into our store. Again, this is It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. Have a great weekend, and remember, you have a reason for living.